Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got the sound system demo of the 2022 Toyota RAV4 and its 11-speaker JBL audio system. This is going to be an in-depth review. We're going to take a look at the infotainment system, take a look at audio adjustments, inputs, speaker controls, or rather speaker locations. Then we're going to head out on the road to listen to these sample tracks while we're rolling, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end. Now if you don't care about any of that stuff at the beginning and you just want to hear the music, click ahead in the video. We've got chapters to get you right to the tunes. And if you're tired of hearing the same songs week in and week out, sign up to become a Daily Motor member. I'm going to be doing a members-only sound test for this system. We'll listen to some tracks requested by Daily Motor members and supporters and all them. So if you're interested in seeing those and many other vehicles, check the link in the description. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. This, just like last year, is the RAV4 Prime XSE model, pretty much fully loaded, coming in at just a hair over $50,000. But this is also one of the top tier compact crossovers on the market with its 40 plus miles of plug-in hybrid electric only range, all-wheel drive, and pretty much all the features that anyone's looking for in this class. You can kind of see the argument for why it costs so much. If you do want to see more on the RAV4 Prime and any RAV4s we've tested, check the link in the description. I also want to point out that in some markets, this might be considered a 9-speaker system. Toyota lists it as 11 on their window sticker, but as we'll see when we count the speakers and when you look on the JBL website, and if you were to look on the Toyota website for other markets, you'd see it listed as a 9-speaker system. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later on, but just know that it's the same system we're talking about here. Now, we always do these tests with lossless, uncompressed WAV files on a USB stick plugged directly into the system, and high-quality Roland binaural microphones in both of my ears, giving you the most realistic audio system demo on YouTube. I highly recommend wearing headphones so that you can hear exactly what I'm hearing in the driver's seat. We also do the test with the sound settings set to their factory defaults, just as the audio engineers intended. So let's take a look at those now. The Toyota infotainment system, fairly basic, fairly simple, not my favorite, but it is effective. Let's go down here to sound, and you get adjustments for treble, mid-range, and bass. Let's go through those. Below that, you have an adjustment for front, rear, left, right, fader, and balance. And below that, an automatic sound levelizer on and off. That's going to raise elements of the music a little bit louder as you get more ambient noise in the car, going faster. We're going to leave that off to stick to a more true to recording sound. And that is it for audio adjustments. For audio controls in the RAV4, you have a nice volume knob here. It's a little thin, and there's barely any clicks. Usually Toyotas don't have any clicks. They're very subtle ones in this car, interestingly enough. You also have volume on the left side of the wheel. For track selection, you can use the scroller knob. You can use these buttons. If you're on the media screen, you can use the touch screen. Right, well, I guess it'd be audio screen. Or you can use the right side of the wheel track selection. I don't like when they're on the opposite side of the wheel from volume, but that's how they are in the RAV4. For audio inputs in the RAV4, you have your standard AM, FM, Sirius XM satellite radio, USB-A. There are USB ports in here, but they're for charging only, not a data connection. Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support. I gotta see their support for wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I think it's wired only. Yep, just wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in the RAV4 for 2022. Speaker locations. Now, as I said, Toyota lists this as an 11-speaker system. JBL lists it as a 9-speaker system. So let's go through them and talk about why. You've got a door woofer right here, 1. Mid-range here, and tweeter here, 2, 3. I like that those are separated, by the way, even though they're located fairly closely, at least they're separate speakers. 4, 5, 6 on the other side. Subwoofer in the back. Let's take a look at that first, as this lift gate slowly opens up. Big ol' JBL subwoofer right there. And then in the back row, you have this speaker here. Now, what I'm assuming is that this is a JBL dual coil speaker, so it's doing a little bit of a mid-range and probably a lower duty. So it's kind of a unity speaker or dual coil speaker. So Toyota's counting it as 8, 9, 10, 11 on the other side, but JBL seems to only be counting it as 1. And I like that better. I think that's a little bit more honest because it's really not going to sound like 2 different speakers that dramatically. But just know that that's where the two bonus speakers are, if you will. All right, well, I'm gonna get this stuff put away so we can get out on the road and listen to these sample tracks at highway speeds. think everything about this system is done very well and very appropriately for the price point. I like that the tweeter and the mid-ranges are separate speakers. that allows them each to focus on their own sort of sound, and it sounds proper. The soundstage itself, some people who are used to a higher degree of audio quality are going to want a little bit more of a forward, in front of you sort of on-stage experience. This soundstage is very around you. It's not, sorry, I'm being distracted by this Chevy Spark that's quite impatient, I guess, to get by me. The soundstage is a little bit wide. It's not very front-facing, and that's not too surprising considering we don't have a center speaker here. I would just, I don't really mind it. It's just after getting out of the Subaru we just had, I was used to a very in front of you sort of soundstage. I will say these speakers get a little bit caught up in the mid-ranges. Now, I don't know if it's just because it's a cheaper mid-range speaker up there, or if it's because the placement is fairly close to the tweeter, but it seems like the mixing's pretty good. It just seems like the speaker gets a little overwhelmed when you're trying to do a lot of mid-range type of stuff. This next song, we'll test out that subwoofer back there and the door woofers, see how the bass sounds. So it's pretty powerful, but I'm also getting a good amount of distortion. So it's not a lot of mirror shakeage. It's not the best bass. That leaves some to be desired. My thoughts on the JBL sound system here in the top trims of the Toyota RAV4. I think it's a very good system for this class. I think it hits the price point. Is it amazing? No. It's a solid B. I'd even give it B+ sound system. I think it's right up there, very competitive with the new Bose system in the CR-V. And I think it is up in the top half, maybe even top quarter of its class. I think what JBL chose to do with the front speaker setup is smart. Now, I think it'd sound even better if the mid-ranges were right here, or maybe even the tweeters were here and mid-ranges were there. A little bit more separation between those two. I think you'd get even more of a crisper, more satisfying sound. But honestly, you turn up a lot of different types of music, and it sounds really good on this system. Now again, not the most powerful bass, so keep that in mind, but for a solid, good, deep system, it's going to be a good step up so that you feel like you're getting something for your money if you pay the extra money for this system. Thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the RAV4 and the RAV4 Prime, check the links in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always,
Live on.